Hi there, everyone. This is a relevant and important conversation that we're having right now about how your fixed star astrology combines with your blocks and the trauma that you're holding in this life, and how you can be aware of it. So I'm a qualified fixed star astrologer, and I'm going to introduce an amazing lady. She's an energy healer based here in the west of Ireland. Her name is Ciara Burns, and her website is the Quantum Reboot. And how I found Ciara is I actually was looking for a family member to work on some issues that this family member had. So we did a quick Google search, and we found Ciara, who it's her name just stood out. The Reboot just absolutely stood out to me. So check the bio and just check that she was into kind of the medical medium, which aligned to what we were doing. Like, we were doing it ourselves as well. So that just sold it for me, as well as the name. And then to be based in the west of Ireland, which is where we're both based as well. So I sent over my family member and to Ciara to get kind of like to work on the different areas that this person needed to work on. So I'll introduce Ciara now. Hello, Ciara. How are you?
Hi, hello. My name is Ciara Burns from the Quantum Reboot, and thank you so much, Tressa, for inviting me to do this. I think this will be really exciting because when when you sent your family member to me, I had no idea. Well, we had never met before. Um, we hadn't come across each other, across each other's paths, and I had no idea that you did astrology. I had no idea until your family member arrived with this chart and asked, would I be willing to look at the chart, fixed place at the placements on the chart in terms of trauma healing. Now, I've no training at all in astrology at all, other than I love to stargaze at night time, and you'll always see me looking up. But um, would always have had an interest. I would follow I would follow Pam Gregory. I'd follow a few different ones on YouTube, and so I'd have a general idea of what was going on, but I didn't know to the depth of how it could help to uncover, reveal, release trauma. That was news to me, and I found that so exciting because I get very excited about any sort of work that helps to shave back on the ego, um, and to do the shadow work. It's what fires and drives me, and it's what I'm here to help other people do. So, of course, Tressa, I was really there was no two ways about it. I was getting a reading done with you, and yeah, so we went from there, and it's been quite a journey. It's been
Yeah,
very exciting what we've learned.
it has, and you are on a mission here. So you are on your right path. So it's great to see. You mentioned Pam Gregory there. She is absolutely amazing. She's a woman of integrity. I followed her work for years. She has said that she studied astrology for 40 years. That it's like a language. So when I think back to the Essenes, which we are interested in as well, they used astrology as well. So it's they used it in all their mystery schools. It was just so prominent in their teachings. It was so relevant, and it really is. It's a snapshot of when you were born, the exact time that you were born. It's a snapshot of the planets that are aligned at that exact time. So you're coming in with these blocks that you want to work on. So I came in anyway, and I've been really into metaphysics, just like you. We both said that we want to study psychology. So you went down your road, I went down my road. I just find it incredibly in depth and relevant. And when I found you and found your work as well, I saw that you kind of work with the angelic realm and the ascended masters, which is what I do as well. I work with the angelic realm and the ascended masters. So what I do is, in the charts for people, I actually work on the first part of the chart, which is the Akashic records. So I get myself to a state of higher consciousness. I call in the ascended masters in the angelic realm, and I use the client's intention, and I get the most relevant information that they need to hear at that moment. And then I go into their natal chart and their fixed chart and find out the story and how it's playing out in their life, their blocks, what's holding them back. As Pam Gregory says herself, that you when you're aware of the blocks, you're not stumbling over them again and
Yeah,
again and instead of kind of suppressing them. Like, you made a great point before about that.
yeah, yeah. And I know when I got my reading with you and I got these pages and pages of detail, it was amazing. But the fact I've never met you, Teresa, you knew nothing about me, because there would have been no link. You were able to pick out my struggles, so clearly and so precisely that it was uncanny. It was, you grabbed my attention because from my point of view, anytime I looked at astrology, I was looking at the good aspects, the fluffy side, what does what does my personality contain because of this, and certain planetary alignments. Whereas I had never actually known you could look at it to really drill down on the darker side, on the shadow aspect, on your ego. So that got me really fired up and really excited. And um, for me, it was validation. Like I've been a long few years on this healing journey, but for me, it was validation that my blocks were relevant, they were real, you know. Because sometimes we do get, healing burnout. We get burnout from going from A to B. How do we shift this? And I meet people all of the time that say to me, I just cannot solve this problem. I have this reoccurring pattern, or this thing keeps happening no matter what I do, no matter what intentions I set, no matter what affirmations I say, no matter how positive I am, it keeps happening. What am I doing wrong? And they'll say things like, I've been to psychotherapy, I've been to counseling, I've trained in this modality, I've trained in that, I've done, every sort of alternative modality, and they'll come back and they'll say, I still have the same issue. Maybe they'll say it's a little bit easier, I'm a bit better, but it's not gone. And this is where I think the astrology placements with the practitioner who's aligned to really delve down like you are, Tressa. And that's what I feel makes you stand out, is that you were willing to delve down on not just the fluffy side, but to really kind of put it to me, this is an issue for you, Ciara. Am I right or am I wrong? You didn't even ask me were you right or were you wrong. You just dished it to me the way I like things to be dished to me. And I really loved the rawness of it, and it wasn't raw in an unpleasant way, but it was very authentic. It was very real, and it was, it was great for me to be able to go from there and say, right, fresh,
Yeah.
fresh energy, fresh perspective, and let's delve down. And I have opened that chart every now and again to see, okay, this makes sense, that makes sense. And even at times I've had text you and said such thing is going on, and you can come back to me and say, Ciara, an opportunity now for you to look at XYZ, and you were always all right. So yeah, it's very exciting. Very
Yeah.
exciting.
No, it's great that you actually brought up the blocks and the fact that you're willing. You see, I love doing charts for people like you that are willing to kind of like work on themselves and heal, because you're doing it, you're helping so many other people. And I know your mission anyway, so I do. But we were talking about before the fact that, like, people kind of suppress their emotions, their trauma, their wounds and all that. And even if everyone has a wound.
Yeah,
So they have, and
multiple.
even if it's not in this lifetime, it's in other lifetimes, either on Earth or in different fixed stars. They come in with different wounds to heal. And you were saying before about people suppressing it. So I think it's important for people to kind of know their wounds, know their blocks, just so they're aware of it, so they don't keep on stumbling over it again and again. And then they can go to the likes of like yourself, who gets right deep. I mean, it's just amazing the work that you do, and the fact that you call in the Ascended Masters and the Angelic realm, and it's just profound what you do as well.
Yeah. Well, what I'm doing is I'm delving down into the inner dialogue that you're holding within. So I'm always looking at my own inner dialogue, and like anyone, some days I get up and my dialogue will be really off. It won't be nice, and something may have been triggered for me. But like, I have the tools now that I can lean back in. But there's people that struggle day in, day out with it, with dialogues that are running internally on some level of their psyche. It's not even in their conscious mind, but these dialogues are completely paralyzing them. They're preventing them from moving forward. They're preventing them from getting that, to breaking through, to getting that freedom, and to getting that expansion, because those dialogues are just too constricting, and they differ for everybody. It depends on your life experience. It depends. Well, obviously now I would have always said it depends on the family you were born into, the timeline you were born into, your previous timelines matter, the people who influenced you. So right up from the cradle all the way up to, your school teachers, the wider community, the culture you grew up in, it all contributes in. And the people who influenced you, like the media, your friend group, your peers, they all are part of the components of the inner dialogues that you're running today, because of the experience that happened, in coincide with those people. But now I know as well, you also have the fixed star points, the planetary alignments that will also have an influence on the stuff that you came in here to learn. So it opened up a whole new sort of an avenue for me, which was, it's the journey is ongoing.
Yes, it is. It is. I was actually just thinking there about your mission. You know, you have the Orion and Nebula backing you up there. So it's just, and you also have lots of cosmic points in the galactic center. So for someone like you would, this is what I do as well as not just the fixed stars. I bring in the cosmic points and how to work with this cosmic energy. So you'd be receiving energy and like lots of downloads. And, you know, you are meant to be working with people and kind of helping to raise their vibration and their consciousness. And you said to me before about you feel like you're kind of like plugging in the Wi-Fi for them. I remember that term. That was very important. But yeah, you are here to kind of like you know, put pen to paper. And I remember before I was telling you about this story, and you said, "Oh God, yeah, one of my family members actually gave me a recorder, and put a note in for my birthday to say this is for the book that you're meant to write." So yes, it is needed. It is needed because you've helped so many people, and you're continuing to help people, and it's great that you're so open to kind of working on your blocks. And I sent you over my issues on my blocks with astrology, and you just got right down deep in there as well, because I think it's important for us who are working with the public to kind of work on our own issues, our own blocks.
Absolutely.
And then yeah, and it'll help everybody. But there is the need to kind of, everybody's issues are coming up to the surface. I think we were talking about before that if you don't heal them, you'll project them onto the world, you know, and then people, circumstances, events will kind of keep on coming back into your life to kind of trigger you until you heal these. So it's super important. And there's lots of energy and waves of light coming in right now. So it's kind of raising the consciousness of people. And, you know, it's important to kind of work on your wounds and your healing and your blocks and not kind of suppress it. But it's also equally important to kind of not be so attached to. So at the end of the report, I always say to people that, okay, these are your blocks and this is your story, but don't be so attached to it. Don't feel like, oh God, I have these hard aspects to this fixed star in Draco or Saturn, or a crux or something like that, you know. Don't be so attached to it and think you're doomed. You know, it's not that way at all. It's just that you chose to work on those energies in this lifetime. And it also helps the family lineage, like us two born in the west of Ireland. I was actually just thinking there, what came to me is I was actually going on a walk there with my kids. I live in this county here. I moved out of the west, and this place here is like there's loads of fairy trails here, and we're kind of like we're brought up with this kind of folklore about the ancients and the other world and fairies and all that. Yeah, and the druids and the Tuatha. And I was talking to a North American friend of mine, and she said they don't talk openly about these type of things. So people are now starting to talk about that. But on this fairy trail, I actually came across this kind of this grave, but it was a grave, a mass grave for like babies and infants and people who actually died because of the famine. So I think a lot of people are actually healing Ireland, especially as well. There's like lots of things coming up for Ireland. And we know a mutual friend of ours is actually doing it right now. No YouTube video, it's done behind the scenes. And she had her house, the water from the chalice well. And in her chart, we talked about the element of water and how it's important and how it plays a role in her life. And she just discovered that her house where she's living in the east of Ireland, runs along the famine way. And it's just amazing. So she poured some of this water into the chalice well water, into the water along the famine way. So she's healing that. So there's loads of people in Ireland healing, you know, without doing it video wise and, you know, in the public. So healing is needed, is what I'm trying to say. What do you think?
Absolutely. And I think right now the environment with all these X-class flares and all the sun flares, everything that we've coming at us, the environment is ripe for us to do our inner work. And I think even those that are not consciously doing it, they're, you know, it's filtering through them. When that level of light hits your field on a, you know, on an energetic level, when that level of light comes in and hits your field, the dense dark blocks within you have no no other choice. They have to disperse. And when they disperse, they come up into awareness. And for those that are on the path and doing the work, they may see, oh, such thing is going on for me. That's interesting. And they may go down that rabbit hole and fully embrace it. For others who are not so consciously aware, it can be a little bit harder because either going, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel this way? So that they're not kind of plugged into their shadow, their ego, or whatever it is they've come here to work. And it can be slightly harder because you can feel lonelier. But then there's the epidemic as well. Spiritual bypassing, or avoiding the work. Not something I think anyone should do, let alone you, I, or anybody that's working with anyone else. I think we have a duty to continue to spiral and evolve in through our shadow, so that we come to a point that we, every block and every, say, dense energy that we work through, we come out of a higher elevation. And the higher we elevate our consciousness, the higher our perspective can be. And the higher our perspective can be, the more divine awareness we can welcome in. So we can look on things playing around us. We can look on certain family members, that would not, maybe that you would have difficulty with, but we can look at those people from more of a neutral standpoint, that you're not being triggered by, what they did to me, or what they say, or what they do, or the way they carry on, or the way they go about their life. That you can see that it's not about you, and that there's a higher story playing out. And the more elevated you can become, the more peace you will draw into your life. But I think some people get to the point where they think they're done now. And I think that's very dangerous territory for anyone to be in, Tressa, because I don't believe we're ever done.
Yeah.
I really don't. I believe as long as we're here on this earth, we've air in our lungs and we have life force moving through our body, we're here to learn.
Yes.
And we will not be called back home to whatever home is for you. We will not be called back until we have learned what we've come here to learn, and we've set out and achieved what we came here to achieve. So I just believe as long as we're here, there's work to be done, and we have a duty in order to be able to serve humanity in a way that's divinely aligned. We have a duty to continue doing our work no matter what.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We both feel very strongly about that, about not having to spiritually bypass. I mean, it's great to kind of like not be attached to things. I've practiced Gnostic teachings for years, but it's non-attachment and all that is very important. But also as well, what is equally important is to kind of know your wounds, know your triggers, so that you're aware of them and just try to heal them, and that you're healing yourself. You're not only healing yourself, you're healing your lineage, and that's where I go back to the whole famine thing, where we're born here in the west of Ireland, which is in Ireland there's been like in our DNA through our ancestors, there's been wars, famine,
yeah,
we're
so
all
much in our lineage. We are. And when we drill down and we try to do our own work, sometimes we're blindsided, we have blind spots, or we just we have a vagueness. We're like, what do I look for? And even having all of the knowledge about the history and of a country that you're originating from and that your lineage are steeped in, it still can leave you a little bit bamboozled. And I think that's where having the astrology can help you to kind of just, that's why we need other people to help us. We need astrology readers, we need counselors, we need psychotherapists to help us, we need shamans to help us. It's a collective effort to help us to see our aspects that need to be healed in order for us to be able to be in service and to stand into our purpose. Now, in saying that, non-attachment, I do believe that at your true divine core essence, you are divine. You're a divine frequency at your core. So the non-attachment, as you say, Tressa, is so important, because if you're going to be coming into healing environments and into healing surfaces or into healing modalities, and thinking that I can't fix this because this is written in the stars, or this is etched into my planets, that's not the case at all. It's not a case at all. It's not having attachment means that that at your core you are a divine essence, and that you can get back to that. It's just the layers of crap that have built up around because of your life experience that has detached you, but has kind of numbed you off a little bit to that knowing of who you are at your true divine authentic self. And that's what astrology is to me. It's not to scare anyone in and to say, this is the way it is, it's written in the stars. It's not that at all. It's to say, if you look at this, and if you work on the dialogues connected to this wound and this trauma, everything will open up for you, and it will. So the inner dialogues are so important. And until
Yeah.
they're cancelled and cleared, they're going to stay running in you internally. And you just remember that your external world is a reflection and a mirror of your inner world. So if you are holding an opinion or belief on some level of your psyche that is, that's attracting in, or that's mirroring in a pattern or a behavior from somebody, or a reoccurring issue in your life that you're not liking and you're resisting, you just want to run away from, that it's very important to realize your empowerment stands. You can't change the outside world. You can't change other people. You can't change the events and situations that are happening and unfolding around you, but you can change yourself. You can change what you believe you should tolerate. You can change what you believe is true. Um, and that's where your power lies. And I don't know, I think I'll die singing that, to be honest, because there's I say it every single day. That's where your power lies. Your power lies in yourself,
Mhm.
in your wounds, in your traumas, and in your inner dialogue. And when you release on that, like and the more you release, the less dense fog you have in your vibration, in your energy field. And the less dense fog you have, the more of a light quotient you can hold. And the more of a light quotient you can hold, the more you will radiate out. And even just by doing your work, if you're surrounded with people that are not really doing their work yet, just by standing and being in their presence, you are radiating the work you've done and the light you've been able to integrate out into their world, if that's a way to
Mhm.
describe it. But you're radiating it out into their line, into their presence, and they can feel that, and they will benefit from that. So even if you feel the people around you are not doing anything, you alone doing your work, you're still helping the people around you, because they're they're watching, they're energetically watching, they're subconsciously aware of what you're doing. You may not have discussion because maybe you can't, but they're subconsciously picking up on the changes. They're subconsciously able to feel what you're radiating out. And subconsciously they are following your lead, whether or not they're consciously matching up yet, but you are helping them in some way. It's like osmosis. So you're the grand sum of the 5 people you spend the most of time with.
Mhm.
And that is so true. That's why we've got to be really careful with the company we keep. But sometimes we have to be in company where, maybe it's more difficult. Maybe they challenge you. Maybe it's, complete paradigm disarray. You don't align with your views at all. And in that situation, just being yourself and sitting in your light is enough to, create change in a time, in their timeline, when they are ready, when it's aligned for them, when the stars line up for them to do their work. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a process, isn't it? I suppose
it
everybody
is.
gets that a process that they. I remember a quote by somebody that said about a family member that she felt that it was sad that she was looking at her father, and an unexamined life was kind of sad. That he never, he was from the older generation, and but he'll reach his path when he's ready, I suppose. I look at the younger kids as well. I have young kids, and they come in with so much wisdom, so
So
much
much.
wisdom. So even if we're doing it for them, you know but also as well, we're activating these gifts. You were saying about the light coming in. It's activation gifts, and we're remembering things that we used to
Yeah.
know before, like telepathy is coming on board. People are, and they're getting lots of downloads. I've told you an example of a friend of mine who was in a completely different country to mine, and I had a dream about him, and he was in a job that he absolutely loved, and he was telling me about it. And I happened to text him the next morning, and I said, I was dreaming about you were in this place that you were telling me about, this amazing job that you had. And I was thinking, why did you move careers when you used to love this career? And he said that night he tapped into Green Tower, and he was asking for kind of career guidance. And I was thinking, what? And it came through me. It's absolutely
No,
amazing. So
no.
yeah, Green
So
Tower
you're
is where I
listening
get.
to your prompts. You're getting the
Yes.
prompts and you're listening and you're executing on them, which is wonderful. That. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's absolutely
Mhm.
amazing. So it is. So yeah, and lots of gifts will be activated. But yeah, I think we've covered enough. We'll come back with some
Yeah.
client stories, because we do have a lot of that
Yeah.
as well, and our own stories, of course, as well. We'll
Yeah.
come back and talk about that. But
I'd like
so to book in with you, Ciara, where will everyone find you?
that. My website is www.ciaraburns.com. So if you just put in my name or into Google or the Quantum Reboot, you'll find me, and you can book a free discovery call there. So yeah, and what about you, Tressa? How
Yeah.
would you?
My website is goddessinspire.com, and I actually created that years ago, not knowing what I was going to be doing right now, so it set me
Wow.
on a different path. So goddessinspire.com, and there's 3 options that people can book, and even if you just want to dip your toes in, there's no problem at all. But yeah, we'll come on board and we'll do more chats, and
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
great chatting to you. We're on the same wavelength, and what's amazing is
Where?
that we both have the same ascendant, so
Yeah.
that's that's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll come back again soon, folks, and we'll chat
Okay.
to you then. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Bye.